class? Let's do something simple. Let's start counting. Mariah, help me out. Why don't you lead the class off in a counting exercise like you guys used to do in gym class? So count off. 1, 2. Continue the number, please. No. Continue the number.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
What happened to 0? Zero mean nothing? You guys have a problem with 0? So you guys counted off with 1, ended at 15, so you're telling me that there's 15 students here, correct? Why not? Why did we not start with 0? Whatever happened to it? Like when you guys learned how to count with your fingers, they probably told you to start here, 1, 2, 3, and work your way through. But what happened to this guy? Over the years, we started to ignore 0 because, yes, it equals nothing, correct? But it turns out it means absolutely everything to us. Let me show you the difference. Anybody want that for a paycheck? But that's 6 nothings. Anybody want that for a paycheck? What's the difference in those two? In this particular case, the zeros appeared in front of the ones, and in the previous case, the zeros appeared after the 1. When I asked you guys to count off, you totally blew by the 0. Is 0 not a symbol in our number system? In fact, when we reach to 10, which looks like this, there's nothing special about it, right? In fact, our number system has 10 unique symbols. Let's see. And only these unique symbols. What's the next symbol? And the next one? And that's what we need to see these as. Stop seeing them as numbers and start seeing them as goofy looking shapes. In fact, when we try to read like Latin or the hieroglyphics, there might be numbers in there. But we don't recognize them as numbers because they might look like this. In fact, Romans had their own number system. And if we were trying to deduce that, we would just see an I, and then somebody's got a problem with spacing. So what's after the symbol 5? And after that? And then it ends there, correct? Now when I say it ends there, I'm referring to that's all the unique symbols we have. Does anybody want to take a guess why we only have 10 unique symbols? We can reuse them, and we can count to infinity. But why is it only 10 symbols? Like how many symbols make up the English language? 26, right? A through Z? If not, count them off. So why 10? It seems at first it's completely arbitrary. Yeah. if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, I would assume that math was the first language spoken and not English. In fact, language in itself is more of an abstract, something that we have created over time. It wasn't natural. Yes, we can make sounds. We can hear these sounds. But that's all they were. And over time, we have processed these sounds to represent something. But initially, think about it. If we assume the whole evolution process, this person was created or evolved, and then you were also evolved or created, like two babies. And how would two babies communicate with each other? In fact, how do kids communicate? How do animals communicate? So I say let's go way back to the past, look at our ancestors, and let's talk about the hunting and gathering phase of things without language. Could we still survive? Could we still communicate with each other without a language? Absolutely. I think they could have done something like this. What do you guys think that might have said? What do you think I might have said just using just that? What do you think this is? Two, maybe. I need two, or I need one person and another person, right? To circle around something and stab it. Right? Talking about hunting, right? We're hungry. That's all that really matters. We have to produce and we have to consume. There's your business model for you. So, no words were spoken. But then somebody thought of this for a second and said, whoa, look what I just did. They thought beyond the toad, if you will, to the next level. They evolved and they recognized these can be used for more than just grabbing things, more than just punching things. They could represent. They have value. They have meanings. And the fact that they acknowledge that they know they're going to need more than one to be able to attack the woolly mammoth, if you will, or whatever, has acknowledged that they represented the concept of counting. If I have one of you and another of you, I have this many of you, which we've come to call the number 2. And we've come to make that number 2 look like this, or some variation of the sort, correct? But what happens when we run out of our 10 fingers? In fact, this number system gets a special name, by the way. The special name, or the common name that you tend to call it, is the what? Anybody want to finish that? The decimal system? Des means 10. This is a Latin word. We just call it in our field base 10. And a reason why, and this is the bet that I'm willing to make, that we have 10 symbols to make up our number system is because of our 10 fingers. And I have to say, our ancestors are really smart, because they knew that someday we'd be wearing these. Because if we didn't, what could our number system be? 20, assuming that you're born with all toes and fingers, right? And that's the thing that really embraced it, because they recognized that they had limitations, but their physical limitations should not be the end of their logical world, right? And we're going to be doing this physical and this logical world transition all the time. They wanted to count beyond. And like you did today in class when I asked you to count off, you counted beyond your 10 fingers. How is that possible? And by the way, I love teaching this lecture. I've done it better in the past, but hey, it's the first time I taught this lecture in a while. Because to me, it's the justification of a college education. We no longer give you the answer, the sky is blue because it is. But the answer is the exploration of it. Why is it blue? Somebody asked that question and was told because it was, and they weren't happy with that answer because the sky isn't always blue. The sky changes colors, and they're wondering why it changes colors. So they explored it. Explored it. Until they can make a science out of it, and we call it what? Some people might say astronomy. I would call it what? Atmosphere, right? They become meteorologists, and that's what we've done. A college education allows you guys to explore beyond your limitations, to build off of what you already know into something you don't. The world is changing all the time. I take this plain old example of counting, and now we're going to evolve it. I'm going to teach you the method of counting, the formula for counting. I'm not going to ask you guys to memorize anything in this class. As you get older, you get fewer and fewer brain cells. By understanding the formula, it makes your knowledge scalable. Now, in the computer world, what we mean by scalability is you can grow, you can adapt. And that is the reason why employers are looking for you to have an education. You will take courses that you will never use in your life directly. That is because you will spend all your time memorizing those courses just to get you through with it, to get the A that you want, and then after that's all over with, at the end of the semester, you burn your book and you are happy. It's not about memorization, folks. It's about the understanding of it. It's about the question, why? This doesn't have to be this way. We could have had 20 unique symbols, and they didn't have to look this way either. But no matter what you do, they're still going to accomplish the same thing. And that's why I say to you, math is the universal language. It is the first language that we have developed. It is the first language we have used. It is the first language we decided to broadcast into space. Because math has to make sense. I am a horrible speller, I'll be the first to admit, and I'm not too ashamed to say it. I have one reason behind it. It doesn't make any damn sense to me. Spell cat for me. This is your part of it, participation. Now, if you're that bad at spelling, then I got something above you. No. But spell cat for me.
C-A-T.
What's the plural form for cat? And how do you spell that? C-A-T-S. Okay. Spell dog for me. D-O-G. What's the plural form for dogs? All right. What about doggies? Now, wait a minute. It's not D-O-G-G-Y-S because you gave me a pattern, right? There was a pattern here. It was C-A-T, then C-A-T-S, then D-O-G, then D-O-G-S, then, let's see, doggy would be D-O-G-G-Y, right? So why is it not D-O-G-G-Y-S? Why is it D-O-G-G-I-E-S? See, the English language has a million different exceptions for everything. Like spell receive for me, which I cannot spell because of that damn I before E rule, right? I don't bother memorizing those things. There's too much to know in this world. I think it's just ridiculous. But math makes sense. And that is, if I give you, well, let's just say you want to change for a 10. And I say, okay, here's a 5. Here's a 1. Here's a 1. Then I have a 20. We'll get back to that 20 in a minute. But I say, here you go. Here's your change for your 10. Are you guys going to be happy to get a $5 bill, another 1, and another 1? Why not? By the way we handled currency back in the day is we had to scale. Whatever you put on one side, that'd be this $10. It had to weigh the same as the other side, giving it equal value. Because like our number system, this is just a concept. These are just symbols. Take this over to Israel and they'll laugh at you. Because that's not their currency, correct? But what can you do? Exchange it as long as it's equal. Now, we won't get to the exchange rate because that just irritates me. But did you see what just happened, though? This was natural. This made sense, literally. It had to equal this. There was no exceptions to the rule. Now, if you're a salesperson, you might say, but I'll throw in free leather seating for those differences, correct? And that's why we say math is universal. Because when we look at all of this, it's got to equate. It's got to balance. It's got to check itself out. And you can tell and you can describe a language in math and you can decipher math. Because when you start seeing things like this, as in the example I pointed out, they recognize that I have one person and another person. That gives me a grand total of 2 people. So we explore this. And trust me, this conversation will definitely come to a point. It'll wrap around. Maybe I'll have to do it on Thursday. But it'll all click, and you'll see why I'm going down this path. But for now, indulge me. Let's start this counting thing over again. So we have 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're at 8 now. Nine is interesting, huh? 10. What makes 10 special but not all that unique? See, one of the rules that we found out in counting is you need to first use your base. Use up all your symbols because no 2 numbers can have the same symbol. Right? Otherwise, if you said 0, then you go 1 and then you say 1 again, there's going to be a problem with that. It's going to throw off the size of the classroom, if you will, because a number was reused. So the first rule that we have to establish in counting is your symbols must be unique. We made 10 unique symbols, correct? The second rule is to be sure to use each and one of those symbols only once. Only once. That's it. The third and the final rule. When you reach the end of your base, like in 9, go back to the beginning of the base and start a new place. It's a nice little nursery rhyme. There is no memorization here. 3 common rules. Establish your base. Use your base. When you reach the end of the base, go back to the beginning and create a new place. By the way, isn't this placeholder, this is back with all those zeros, commonly referred to as the ones column? And what is this place? In fact, remember those zeros in the front of a number means absolutely nothing? And I could have a billion of these. But what does this column represent? And why do you think it was called the tens? First time you ever had to enter in this column is when you arrived at 10. But 10, like I said, isn't all that unique or special. 10 is just a 1 followed by a 0. It's the next number in line of that base. Do you see I used all the possible 0 combinations? I have a 0, 0, a 0, 1, a 0, 2, a 0, 3. So when I reach 9, the next thing this is going to roll to is going to be a 1 followed by a 0. What's the next number after 10? And we just call that a 1 followed by a 1, right? Now I'm just going to throw a 14 in there because we should have had 14. Because the last time we counted off. Oh, I skipped you! Oh, I'm sorry. See? This is what happens. You want to make sure you stay in order, too. So I knew we should have had 14. But did the size of the classroom change? But why did I end at 14 and not 15 like I did the last time?
Start at 0 instead of 1.
And get used to this, folks. I have 10 fingers. But it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, why do I make a big point about that? Because I want you guys to take one of your hands. I hate the left hand. So take your left hand, put it behind your back, hold up your right hand. Now, let's start counting off in this class with just one hand. Because what if we were only born with one hand? Or what if we were born with two hands that had like 2 fingers on one hand and 3 on the other? The point is, you just cut your base in half. Correct? Can we still count off to 15? I only have 5 fingers. This base now becomes, gee, I really missed my other hand. Of course, it'll get a new name, whatever 5 is. Let's start off. 0, so all fingers are to be down, right? So we have starting off with 0. And then the next person would be? So you just hold your one pinky up, correct? And then the next person would be? So you just hold up your ring finger and your pinky finger. Yeah, I got to get that. That gives me 2. And that would just be what? These 3 fingers? Let's see. We did... Well, I guess I might have screwed up. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. And you didn't see that? This is 4, correct? All right, so this is 4. How do I get to you? Because you do exist. You were a number, quote unquote. I hate to say that, but. Okay, so you got to start over again, but you might want to throw like a placeholder out there, right? So what am I going to write here? So start over. So you started over. What did we do when we get to 9? Did we not start back to the beginning? I know you want to say that's 10. But in a world with only right-handers, that becomes their new 5. Correct? What do you think the new 6 is going to be? Don't say it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. What do you think the new 7 is going to be? New 8. So 1, 3. New 9. The new 10. 2, 0. The new 11. So 2, 1 for the 11. What about the new 12? 2, 2. The new 13. The new 14. And the new 15. 3, 0. We'll continue this on Thursday's class. You guys take care. I'll see you on Thursday. Stay tuned with Blackboard, right? Make sure you guys get your textbook and the My IT access code. Hopefully we can get you guys registered by the weekend.